Well done, Wednesday. It was a reference to well cooked. I couldn't come up with a better W word. Uh, Sorry about that. But it is in reference to videos or to games that I feel require a bit more time than just 5, 10, 15-minute videos. Games that I feel deserve a bit more time, a bit more coverage, and maybe even become the first few videos in miniseries. I know that longer videos is not for everyone, so if I set off one day to make these kind of videos, then people know what to expect. This is, for reference, a live recording, which is something I usually do not do because I like to have control over the different volumes, and I've had some microphone issues, but I think this works. So please let me know if you can be bothered, if it works or not. I could just have pre-recorded this and after commentated it, but this is a game that deserves being live commentated because the pacing, the timing, and all sorts is going to be completely off if you pre-record it and try to fake it in a way. That out of the way, welcome to Popolous 2, a game by Bullfrog Productions, containing, of course, a very famous, infamous, whatever, Peter Molinac, whatever he's called. I can never pronounce his surname. Sorry, Peter. And you can probably see that it's Popolous 2, and you can wonder why I'm not starting with Popolous instead of the second game. And there's a good reason for that, and that is because the advances made with the second game completely obliterates any need, desire, or requirement to play the first game. Because the first game even seems extremely dated in comparison. So, the setting for Popolous 2 is a Greek mythology, and anyone following a mythology of any kind, specifically Greek, will know that Greek mythology even was filled with sex, intrigue, and murder. And of course, the father of all Greek gods, Zeus, was quite a busy man. He fathered quite a few sons, and you play as one of them. You've told Daddy that you want to have a taste of being a god, and he says, nope, can't do that. He will not give it to you out of nowhere, so you have to prove your worth to him. And you prove your worth by defeating other gods and eventually taking the fight to Zeus himself. Now, fighting mano a mano would be too easy for the gods because they can't be bothered with that kind of. It's too simple. So, in order to prove your worth, you have to defeat other gods on different worlds using the poor pawns, I mean humans, as a tool in order to defeat the different deities. That is the basic premise of the game, and because of the pacing of the game, even at the beginning, I will try to explain as much as I can as we go along. But I did a test recording earlier and found out the hard way that I need to keep up. I can't just sit here and talk and let the game play in the background. You will be overrun even at lower levels. Create your deity, Conquest Game, custom game, load game, just to DOS. I've already created a deity. You have a different, you start the game when you create a new deity with 5 experience points, and you have 6 different areas in which you can place said experience. People manipulation, vegetation, earth, water, I was about to say wind, fire, and water. And anything you do in the game is called a divine intervention. Even the simple things are still considered to be divine interventions, but of course some of them are going to be more dramatic than others. And within the different fields, as you add to experience, you will find that your different powers require less mana to use, or will have a longer duration, or be more powerful, or whatever. And that is ultimately what the experience will do. The password system, as you can see here, if we change something slightly, you can see that letters are changing. So that's basically, in essence, this is one very advanced world builder, and just like many other games from this time, something like this would be the code for how the world is set up, the rules, all sorts of good things. I should mention, according to the manual, depending on how aggressive you set your portrait up, I can just quickly showcase. The more aggressive your guy look here, the more aggressive the computer will be as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't say for sure that it's got an immediate effect, but let's proceed. Conquest Game is where it's at, so let's get into a Conquest Game immediately. Here are the rules for said Conquest Game. The first battle. Don't worry too much about the names of the worlds, because that's basically just like the password in the deity screen. This is basically just a password for setting up the world. Here you have the different rules and the different abilities available. You can click on any of them to get a description of what they do. And you can raise lower anywhere on map, you can raise lower anywhere at sea level, can't raise lower opponent's land, can't raise land, can't lower land. All these rules are things that affect the current game, and they can be very, very different from world to world. Water is fatal. If your guys or the enemy's guys will go into water, they will drown. You can try to save them by building land underneath the water or underneath them to get them out of the water, but yeah, I talk too much. Show opponent deity. What's it called? Episimus, Epimesius. Sorry, whatever. Language difficult. Titan of Afterthought, who is both very slow and sleepy. Epimesius and his brother Prometheus were assigned by Zeus to bestow gifts to man. Epimesius failed to give protection from the elements. Okay, nice to know. So let's get into the game itself. As I said before, I need to be on the move. I can't just talk. Stop and talk even, which is something I prefer to do. But in this game, because of course you are God, and a God without faith is nothing, you need your worshippers to power your mana, which is your fuel for divine interventions, even the simplest ones, like raising and lower land. So the basis of every single game is to make sure that your population can thrive. If you look at the different huts, they have a blue flag because we are the blue side, and that will slowly increase from the bottom to the top, and once it reaches the top, someone will go out and try to resettle a new building. The larger the building, the faster it will go, so you are encouraged to give your population as much space as possible by raising lower land, whatever, in order to give them more space to work with. So you will probably spend an awful lot of time doing this, and it may on the onset seem a bit tedious, I suppose, but it's no different from an RTS where you are doing base building. This is your basic economy. Your people, your population is your economy. Morbid as it may sound, but that is the premise of the game. So let's do this quickly, give them a bit more space. To probably explain a few things. That's sort of the point of doing these videos. You can see the Colosseum over here. The blue dots is our population, and the red dots are the enemy population. This screen is used for information. If you click here, the question mark thing, it will show that, well, there's a hut, and that is their weapon technology. The aim of the game is to beat the other gods by beating his population. Basically, if he hasn't got any population, he hasn't got any faith, he have anyone to have faith on him. If he hasn't got anyone to have faith on him, he's got no power. So, by having your population become strong enough to beat his population, you defeat the god. That is the basic winning condition. So, of course, as I was saying before, having a lot of followers to worship you will grant you mana, and mana is your fuel. That is displayed down here. This red bar is your mana meter, basically, and in the different sections you have sorry, I just need to stay focused there. In the different sections of divine interventions, you have options you can make use of, like raise overland, place Papal Magnet, convert to a hero, and call Armageddon. If you call Armageddon, you are sending every good and bad hero into the center of the world for a final battle. You don't have to do that to win. You can just destroy the population while playing in other ways. But other options, as you can see, are mana meter might give us access to certain abilities in one section, but we haven't got anything with vegetation, haven't got anything with earth, haven't got anything with air. Then we've got the fire column, which we can showcase in a few moments. And of course, water. The different divine interventions will be more or less expensive, so just because this arrow here might showcase that you can afford a certain thing on one tab doesn't mean that you can afford the most expensive one on another tab. Anyway, let's showcase a fire column, because we need to control his population a bit here. It moves quite randomly, but let's just give him something to do. So he's placed this Papal Magnet there. Oh no, we placed our Papal Magnet there. Okay, the Papal Magnet is it's called a magnet for a reason. This is where you gather your population in order to create heroes. And we will start creating one in a moment, I think. This screen over here, this side of the screen over here, is the different behavior options for your population. Go to Papal Magnet, which we can do now. The screen here, the flag is settle, so they will focus on settling more than anything else. The two sword marker icons will cause them to go and look for fights. The follow icon is to follow the leader. The leader is the one carrying the shaman staff kind of thing. But by having them all go to the Papal Magnet, we are now gathering strength for the hero. Once we have decided that we've spent enough of our population building up strength, we can click on Prometheus, I think it is, isn't it? No, whatever the hero is called. And that will create a hero unit which is much stronger than any normal civilian thing. And he will, or she, it could be a she, will go around and cause havoc, so let's do that and just follow the hero. They are not invulnerable, but they are quite strong and they can do all sorts of nasties. So, but you can see the computer has placed its Papal Magnet right there. You always need a leader, so if the leader has been killed, he or she will drop the Papal Magnet, and it has to be picked up by someone else in order to create a leader. You know what, you guys just stop doing that. We'll just set you out to fight, because I think we can overrun them by sheer numbers. That fling, by the way, is the paper magnet being placed. It can be the one you place or the one your opponent places. The sound cues in the game are quite important, especially when you suddenly hear the nasty sound of a tidal wave later on in the game. Tidal waves, volcanoes, earthquakes, that kind of stuff, as you can probably imagine, are quite deadly. But let us keep flattening the land, just to give our population as much of an advantage as possible. Come on, guys, girls. Well, we have got enough mana now to call the final battle, but you know, let's play a bit with fire, shall we? Divine interventions like fire, comms, and whatever else they might be will cause the land to become damaged and basically uninhabitable. But by raising and lower the land, you can bring it back to being fertile again. Certain divine interventions which are available later in the game will prevent you from doing that. It will permanently affect the playfield, so it can never again become fertile. But it's not something we have to worry about at this stage of the game. So I have basically showcased the basic premise of this game. As you can probably imagine, this being our first fight, this is not necessarily going to be the most complex scenario in the world, and it isn't. Our hero died. You know what? Let's place our paper magnet. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Whatever. Let's place it here. No? Oh, we haven't got a leader. Because we just converted into a hero. It doesn't matter. We got a leader now. No? Come on, can we pick it up, please? No, just go to that fight. Go to the paper magnet and let's get a hero right on the borders of our enemy territory. Let's get a feeling for how strong that hero will be. Can we, please? Maybe? You know what, just click on you. Still have to work around doing other things, so they want to mess around with our hero gathering group, and let them. It's not going to end too well for them. Oh, good play step. Lovely. You know what? I got something for you. Being a god is fun. I think our heroes sufficiently strong and can just go around and demolish the enemy. This is definitely a game type that might not be for everyone. It's probably too much micromanagement for certain people, which is perfectly understandable. But it's hard not to considering how many intricate details is a part of this game, it may on the surface level seem quite simple, but the amount of stuff the computer has to work around and work with, even in order to keep the game running, is quite impressive. I mean, there's in the early stages of the game, it's going to be rather simple, but as you start progressing, you will find that the computer will be putting up much more of a fight, and later on, I'd say, it can become rather tough. But what I've showcased so far is the basic premise. Improve your population, do everything you can to hinder the opponent's population, and let's make this living area fertile again. Ta-da, ta-da! You know what, let's just get this video ended so I can do some closing comments on it, because this is another reason why I don't normally do live commentary, because I keep cutting myself off. Come on, guys. We outnumber them about, yeah, quite a lot to 1. The sound effects has a very, very bad habit of playing it. Okay, it quieted down. Client complete by good in 225 days. The largest population, the enemy's largest population, highest mana, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. Overall score, which will dictate how much experience you get. We got a 1 experience point, right? Which we are now able to put into any of the 6 categories. Let us put it into air. Proceed. So as long as we stay in the game, if we click a Conquest Game, we will now be on world number 4. Depending on how well you play, or how well you don't play, you will be propelled forwards. You won't have to do World 1, then World 2, then World 3, then World 4. If you play super fast, super aggressive, and absolutely demolish your opponent in a short amount of time, you can earn a very high score, but you can also earn a very high score by building up a huge population, by using a lot of divine interventions and all sorts of things. It will sometimes jump 3 levels, sometimes jump 12. I think the highest I've seen was something like 12 levels being skipped forward. So you are not forced to play 1,000 games in order to actually get to eventually battle Zeus. But I remember many years ago, it was very, very popular to put passwords in computer magazines for the different levels, and I could easily imagine some random new player to this game getting a password for level 20 or something. I shouldn't say level 20, I should say level 980. But I basically consider that you start from 1,000 and then work your way up to number 1. But that's not how the game rated, so I should probably get my numbers right. But personally, I gotten to around 400 working from these numbers, working from 0 upwards. And that's where you start getting a decent challenge from the computer. So after showcasing this map, this was sort of a test bed on how I want to approach the Wednesday videos. Me playing while recording, voiceover even. Isn't not something I'm not normally keen on doing because I like to be in control of the different volume settings, but I think this might work. I will probably turn this game into a miniseries because it's got plenty of levels I can play. I wouldn't necessarily be tied down to only placing these videos or putting them up on Wednesdays. I could put them up any day I want to. But it was just the intention was to set up and showcase the game being played while I talk, going through a bit too haphazardly possibly how the game plays out, what the objectives are, the different elements of it, and any feedback would be appreciated. Telling me that I suck, I know I suck. That doesn't help me much. I know it should have been planned better than it was, but it is what it is. I'm trying to develop myself as a content producer, and in that regard, getting some ideas is always helpful. So anyone who's willing to, or feel a need to, or desire to constructively give some feedback, that would be much appreciated. For next week's Wednesday video, it's going to be a small series. I have already planned it, and I'm trying to alternate the video series between Commodore 64 and Amiga, and possibly PC or even other systems. That will be something that will be determined down the line. But as I said, this is just showcasing the idea behind my intention of the Wednesday videos. So thanks for watching. Hope you found it somewhat informational, whatever. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye for now.